Welcome. Welcome back to those of you who've been here before. And for those who haven't, welcome to our fourth and final series fourth and final part of our AI series called AI You Will Actually Use. We started the series talking about how AI can help you think more strategically and more clearly. Then we went to marketing and looked at how AI can help you in that realm. And then we talked about all those operational things that you have to do in the back office, all those behind the scenes things that take up so much time. Um, and now I'm going to leave work behind. Forget about work. We're going to talk about AI and your personal life.
Can you
Okay.
officially
So,
say forget about it?
yeah, I'm originally from Philadelphia, but I have lived in New York a long time. So, yeah, forget about it.
So forget about it. Yeah.
Forget about it. Um, so things like planning a trip, figuring out what to make for dinner. You got to show us that one, Will, because I don't get that. Comparing three things that you want to buy and you know absolutely nothing about them. And this one I need organizing the 12 different post it notes that are floating around my head with stuff on them. Interestingly, I read just today that OpenAI, the company that owns ChatGPT, did a study recently and said that 70% of ChatGPT specifically, 70% of their usage is not work related. So put something from your to do list in the comments, and maybe you'll learn how to make the ordinary extraordinary. So, my guest again is Will Dickinson, a business communications strategist, AI extraordinaire consultant, and marketing expert. We're going to talk, we're going to show you some demos, and from approximately 6:15 to 6:30, we'll have time for live Q&A. So again, put your questions into the comment section so that you can get maybe your questions answered live. Okay, Will, let's get started. I have a question for you.
Fire away.
Okay, so by the way, I have to leave exactly at 6:30, if not 1 minute before, and I've made Will co-host. So if you all have a lot of questions, please do ask them because he's a good resource.
Now's
I
your
might
chance.
have to drop off. So uh, let's talk about just at first, just give a kind of a laundry list, I would say, of ordinary things that people are using AI for, the kind of stuff that would make someone say, "Where have you been all my life?"
Well, I would say probably it's all about organizational in a big umbrella. Um, you mentioned meals and stuff like I
Yeah.
just looked up a meal the other day. I was like, I have cottage cheese and I have fresh zucchini and oh wait, there was something else. I have Parmesan cheese. I said I have cottage cheese, Parmesan cheese, and I said make me a protein-based meal. So it came up with zucchini and that you basically stir fry on the stove, and it had garlic in it and salt and pepper and all the Italian spices and everything. And then before it's in, you drop a little cottage cheese in there and a couple eggs if you want extra protein. And so we ate that, and we just were like, "Oh my God, this is just
It was good.
incredible." So it's a matter of AI in the beautiful part of it on a personal level really takes over the ability to go, okay, what do I have in my fridge? And if you can list off a bunch of things you have in your fridge, it can come up with a variety of different recipes for you almost instantaneously. As a matter of fact,
Wow.
let's have now.
Whoop.
So I'm gonna share this one here, and we'll just talk into it, saying. Um, I have bread, bagels, Parmesan cheese, um, eggs, cottage cheese, and crackers. What kind of meal can I make? And we'll
And
let
by
this
the way,
do its.
sorry, but would you just show people where you clicked so such that you could just talk into it instead of typing?
Sure. And it might help if this was a little bigger. Sometimes people say it needs to be a little bit bigger.
All
Does
right.
that help everybody?
Probably.
Okay, so to talk into any and dictate next to when this is blank, there's a little microphone right here, and if you click on it, it'll allow you to dictate, and that's the trick to it all. It's really pretty straightforward. Um,
And it does a good job of it? I mean, it really captures what
well,
you're saying, or does it make
yeah,
mistakes?
you heard me talk, and you can
True.
see what it did. It inserted all the punctuation because
Oh, yeah.
I talk without punctuation. And but I'm used to actually dictating. So it used to be you used to go, um, make me a sandwich, period. I'd like you to show me the way that you go, comma, out to dinner or whatever it is, but you had to actually
Gotcha.
verbalize the stuff. It's pretty intelligent at this point. So anyway, here
Great.
was I have bread, bagels, Parmesan cheese, eggs, cottage cheese, and crackers. What kind of meal can I make? And of course, this is one of those that it's gonna give us probably multiple options. Um, Parmesan
Wow.
Parmesan egg in a hole. Never heard of it, but it sounds pretty yummy. Cottage cheese
Okay.
breakfast toast, cheesy egg bagel, Parmesan egg crackers. And if you're really hungry, I'd go with the bagel version. If you're looking for lighter but still satisfying, do the Parmesan egg toast. Well, dang, I didn't know I had my own little personal waiter at the table to suggest
Wow.
things, but you saw
So,
how fast that it created this. Go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say, what are just, again, just to like rattle off some ideas on the stuff that we can do for our personal lives
Oh
with AI.
man, yeah. Well, there's
And
everything
and
from
then we'll
travel.
go into a few more. Yeah, we'll go
Yeah,
into like
yeah. So
detail on
there's
some of them.
Yeah, so there's travel that you can do. Let's just say you're taking a trip from New York to Florida. What's the best? It can compare plane flights. You
Mm,
have to check pricing because you know how that can always change on the moment's notice. But
true.
as well as flights or whatnot, you could basically say looking at, and we can do a new one here. Looking at all the flights on what is today? Tuesday, the 25th of August. I would like to go to Florida and first be Orlando and then down to Miami. What is the best way for me to do that? Please list the flight numbers and the best airlines. So this is really loose and off the cuff, but you could do it
Yeah,
better if you actually had the information.
and also when you say best airlines, don't you need to kind of give it a little more context, a little more like you deciding what means best?
Well, correct. If you just say best, it's going to be rather ambiguous and it's going to choose which is the best. It's probably, and let's see what it gave us. I'm
Okay.
assuming Tuesday, August 25th, that you'd be leaving from the Portland area, PDX, which makes the most sense. ChatGPT knows me. So
Yeah.
it's saying that the first leg is Alaska Airline is the standout choice. And it has reasonings and ways only $174. That's pretty darn good. Now, is that
You're going to
round
go?
trip? Well, it says has a nonstop PDX to MCO, but it doesn't say what the round trip is. So I'm assuming that it's got to be double that for round trip. But you can see how quickly it pulled up a bunch of different
It's
flights and an itinerary
amazing.
potentially for
Yeah.
you to take that trip. So that's with your family. Um, Personal writing. Of course, we've done a lot of this before.
Hmm.
Personal writing stuff. Um, there's a bit of a controversy that goes on. My Since I'm a writer, I hear my stuff all the time. It's nice getting an alternative perspective. Like I'll write my stuff and then I'll dump it into Chat GPT, and you and I'll talk a little bit more about mind dump and stuff. But dumping and stuff like that, I'll be writing like I want to write a letter to my mom, but I'm upset with her or something. And you could
Right.
say, hey, I'm upset with my mom. What's the best way to present this so I'm not offending her, but yet I still want to get my point across? So it can actually create these scenarios for you to choose which one you like best.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so Can you actually stop sharing for a second so people can see
Yeah,
you more?
yeah,
Um, and we'll go back and do some more demo.
yeah.
I'm curious, are there any sort of routine tasks that you have allowed AI to kind of do for you on an ongoing basis that you're
Well,
willing to
there's some.
share?
Well, it, yeah, but not necessarily me. I'm almost like, painters don't ever paint their own houses. I don't know if you've ever heard that particular one, right?
Yep.
Well, in my particular case, it's difficult for me to talk about things that people do in the way that you're talking about it without leading it back to business. So I'm trying to keep this um,
Got it.
on
Okay.
a personal level, because it's really easy for me to drift into business and how I would do the mundane tasks of getting things to business. You can do it with calendars. You can do it with setting up. If you're a business that runs social media, you can do the social media, do a
Right.
30-day campaign and all that other stuff. It's the same way. If you have 3 kids and you say, well, kid A has to be at soccer practice on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, but kid B also has something Monday early evening where he has piano lessons. Who's the best one to go pick it up? Because my husband gets off at 5:30 and I get off at 3:30 in the. I mean, it's a matter of context. So pushing that context in there, it will help you reason through these things. You can be unorganized and just reason through these, or allow it to help you reason through it. And it might be that you're not choosing its final result that it's pushing to you, but it helps sometimes to get it out of your head. You have 15 sticky notes in your head, as you were saying earlier. If you listed all
Yep.
those sticky notes and said, list these in priority of how I should manage my Saturday, it's going to probably ask you a couple questions. Well, what kind of stuff do you plan on doing on Saturday? Are you working on Saturday? Do you usually take Saturday off? There's all these things that I think that we take for granted when we start thinking about how we're going to organize our weekend, or what are we going to do with the kids, or, you know, are we getting a babysitter and husband and I are heading off to go visit Niagara or something for the night or something, right? So it's contextual. So it's really difficult to give one or two items. Let's see if anybody put um Yu Zhang. I'll briefly answer this and then we can come back to it if need. What does mean
Okay.
four-part live series? Um you we went
Oh,
This is the fourth part of a four-part live series that we're doing that's surrounding how AI can work better in your life for you. That's essentially it.
yeah. I think I said it in the introduction. The first part, we talked about how to use AI for strategic and thinking clarity. The second part, we talked about marketing. Third part, we talked about operations. And this is the fourth, about personal. So, um, why, tell me when you would use AI. I'm trying to think of a question. If you, what kind of things should you be thinking about when making the decision to use AI versus Google or Yahoo or Bing or one of those, searches that
Yeah.
we're used to? So what should you be considering?
Well, there's really not much difference of the stuff that we're used to. The advantage of AI is it gives you a conversational aspect coming back at you. And it's really just in the way that the interface works. You search, for Google for best vacation spots in Georgia, and it's going to give you just the best vacation spots in Georgia. But you could give extra context, pardon me, to AI and say what is the best spots in Georgia on a budget, or you can give it a more specific. I'm visiting Savannah, but I also want to go and hit Atlanta. Which part of Atlanta should I stay away from? I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can put in there. The advantage once again is it's it's a little bit of a brain dump with AI comparatively to Google. Google will give you answers, but it's based more upon the keywords that you're using, whereas
Right.
AI collectively will take the entire sentence and go, here's what I think he or she means when they're asking this particular question or inquiry or assigning a task to me. And it's getting better and better that it's asking questions back to you which makes the
Right.
interface a lot better because really it's nuanced. Everything that we do is so nuanced and we don't think about it until we
Right.
actually have to think about it, like having to ask a question that's specific.
Right. Just in case people don't quite get the idea of context,
Hmm.
because I think that might be the case. You say it a lot. I've heard it obviously a lot before. Giving it context and being specific about the question. And what we're talking about here, people, is when you interface, when you interact with these AI models, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, any one of them.
Hmm.
Um, so, how do you answer that?
Okay. Um, it's context in what we're talking about. And of course, this is kind of going, this is the general meaning of context. And then there's also, let me give you a specific example. So the context is anything that has to do specifically with what you're talking about. You could give general ideas of what you're talking about. I'm going to the
Mhm.
beach, but the context is on Saturday with my girlfriends.
Okay.
So there is an example of how adding that context, just going to the beach leaves it pretty wide open, and it will um, not as much anymore, but it will interpret that and go, okay, well, here's what I think you mean. And then you have to go
Uh
back in and
huh.
go, no, 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 no. I'm going with my girlfriends. It's going to be on a Saturday. We only have $50 each to spend. Put in all of these contextual stuff, and then what you're going to ask it is for the result of what you want to achieve. We're going to want to go out to dinner one night. We're going to want to lay around and maybe go to the beach for a couple hours. Create an itinerary for me and the girls for Saturday.
Okay.
Something like this, giving it a contextual grounding or rounding foundation is really going to get
Okay.
you the results that you need with AI. And then Cecilia wrote a
Cool.
big one here. Uh,
And how long
research.
will they be accessible? If you're talking about the replays, they're yours. Share them with people you think need them. Best time of day to take vitamins, supplements, and other pills. I've told, hold on one second. Oh, that's a different question. So you want to just give an example of how you might prompt, how you might react, how you might interface with AI
Yeah,
to
let me
figure that
just
one
read
out?
this. Yeah, let me just read this one here. I have told it what kind of cruises my friends and I have tried over 3 years together on a monthly basis and asked to suggest other cruises. Uh,
Cuisine.
how was the result you received, Cecilia?
Cuisines it suggests.
Go ahead and unmute and tell
Wow.
us if you can.
Sound level.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Oh, great.
Hello.
Yeah, so for over 3.5 years, I and four other women have gone out to a place in Manhattan. And we were kind of running out of ideas of what other
Okay, yeah,
cuisines.
yeah.
And before you start going to the many, many, many Italian restaurants for the fifth time,
Yes.
and so it suggested like six cuisines, and I had my friends vote, and then we went from there. And so then we said,
That's
okay,
cool.
what kind of Peruvian, for example, Peruvian, Portuguese, Brazilian,
Nice.
whatever. And yeah, so that was very helpful.
Yeah, so just
Cool.
out of curiosity, from your perspective and experience, was that what you were expecting to get out of it?
Yes, I actually used to own restaurants and I was married to a chef, so I know what
Oh,
kind of questions to ask.
perfect.
Oh,
And
Perfect.
so
Yeah.
I'm kind of one of the leaders of the group of the five of us. And I think because it just takes a lot of brain power, people don't realize, when they're asking you
yeah.
to coordinate social events or whatever. And
Uh-huh.
so I was
Mm-hmm.
asking AI and they were saying, oh my gosh, I don't want to just rely on AI. And I was saying, so then you do it. And they weren't. So I said, okay,
Well,
fine. Here's,
you
here's
know,
what I
you
found.
I had,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Cecilia, because I had a big conversation. I'm working with the Kelso Senior Center. Um, they were having problems communicating their stuff, and one of the ways that I give back in the communities in which I live is I look for places, things like senior centers. They don't usually have a big budget, and I
Right.
go and I don't charge them for my labor hours in helping them do whatever. What are you guys doing? Where are you failing? what's been the successes and these kind of things, and we kind of work out a way to make things work for them. So I was talking to their secretary, main secretary of the board today, and when I mentioned social media, he was like, "Oh, I hate social media. It causes people to get ripped off." And I'm like, "Well, let's put this in perspective. You know, it's like the machine doesn't do anything. The people that are giving out too much information, there needs to be an education about what I don't give, and actually we're going to talk a little bit about that today. What do you not
Yeah,
give to AI and search engines when it comes to stuff like this, or going into, if somebody calls you up on the phone? I mean, there's I don't know how much you get it back there in New York, but out west here is really bad, where people get calls all the time. Hi, we're
all the
looking to do
time.
this for you, and it's just like, really?
Everybody wants to loan me money.
Yeah. Yeah,
I get a million of those.
and they want you to
Um,
pay them back. That's the terrible part.
Damn.
Anyway,
Okay, so
sorry. Let me just finish my thought on this.
I'm
So
sorry.
going out and going to dinner is a perfect example of how AI can really help you organize, but there's a lot of bad misinformation about AI as well. Some people think, oh, AI is just this big evil thing that's coming along. Well, they thought the same thing about email. They thought the same thing
Mm,
about writing a letter that you could just electronically send it. Well, how are they supposed to receive it? I mean, there was all these questions, and it's just
yeah, good point.
uneducation. I don't want to say people are uneducated, but definitely not stupid. But definitely when they come into the situation where they're looking for dinner and they can't come up with something, this is the perfect place for you to absorb the power of AI, because it's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah. Yvonne, hello.
Hi,
Do you
Yvonne.
have a question? Because actually, we would prefer people keep their cameras off unless you're asking a question.
She was
Do you
thumbs
have a?
upping me,
Oh, okay.
All right.
but
Thanks.
thanks
It's
for the
That,
thumbs
just
up.
thank you.
that's okay. It's okay. No worries. We're casual here. This is a learning environment. Low key. Take what you can from it. All right. So I got an email from someone who
Hmm.
couldn't be on today because they know they're getting the recording, like everyone is. What did she say? She said, "I'm bad with time management. I've got a I actually wrote it down. Um, I need to plan a family weekend. I'll need to do errands like shop for food, figure out what meals to make. Here we go with the meals again. Um, some of my family members have dietary restrictions, and I have limited time to prep. And I want to make sure I go to the gym at least once over the weekend.
Okay.
um, Help! What
Well,
would you do with
the one.
that? Actually, can you show people how you would prompt for that?
Well, yes. So, can you put that in the? Is there any way that you can just copy and paste into the chat?
Nope. Or maybe. Give me a second.
That was as
Uh,
fast as my wife not participating in something.
Moving right along.
So
Okay,
let me speak while you're arranging stuff there. So it's all a matter
I got
of
it.
organization. Okay, cool. And the way that you want things to be organized. So as soon as I get this prompt here in the chat, I'll open up another
Okay,
window. There we go. Okay.
there you go.
So that's actually not a bad prompt all on its own. So here we have the basic prompt. Okay, so I always like to also insert my goal with this. My goal
Okay.
is to, and cue me up a little bit. What's our goal here?
Not have a nervous breakdown.
To to
No,
yes,
that wasn't written. I'm making that up.
to organize the beginning and end of the weekend and make it so I'm not exhausted after the end of the weekend. Please organize this in the priority from, I wanted to say top to bottom, but that doesn't sound right. from the priority from um, most loved.
Efficient. How about being most efficient? Would that work?
Sure, let's see what it says.
Okie doke. And let's talk about your trick when you want to edit your prompt, but when you're
Yeah,
ready. But I just
yes,
want to show
I'll
people
show
that.
you that. Yes, I'll show you that in a second.
Okay.
So since your plans are family time, food, errands, limited time, so it's hearing everything that we're saying. It's starting with number one, lock down the fixed commitments first. So it's trying to help you organize by locking down the things that you already know are actual. So when you go out on a
Okay.
trip, I don't know if how many people have families here, but when we went out on trips, we did a bunch of great planning, and then sure as you know what, something happens at the last moment, and you know
Yeah.
the kid has to go visit his coach for the soccer camp because he accidentally took the keys away from or whatever it is, right? And you're like, you know, but anyway, decide the meals before you shop. I don't know how many people don't do this, but this is something since I'm the primary meal creator at our house, as because I work from home. Um, I do this a lot. I
Yeah.
will organize and say, okay, this week I'm going to have roast beef, ham, a vegetable dish that I want, hamburgers, and maybe for lunches I'll have a manwich sandwich or something. So I'll try to plan this out. So I'll say create a grocery list for me, and it will create a grocery list for this. See, one
Yeah, but
here's
hold on a second. Hold on. It- Before you were saying give it context. So if you say I want to have roast beef and ham, etc., how wouldn't you need to put a little more context around it? Like I
that is
love
the
glazed
context.
ham. Oh, that you wouldn't have to be more specific about what type
Well, like when you make a
you
grocery
could.
list, do you put glazed ham or do you put ham because you know what you want?
Well, I don't know. I'm thinking about if you're going to make a sauce on it.
Well,
Okay,
right.
move on.
No, I think you have a valid point. Let me just try to refocus it here just a bit because I think
Okay.
it's important to remember that context is the listing of the ingredients. If you're talking about, I need to go shopping, and I have this in my fridge. I'm looking to make X meal, whatever that X meal is. I'm looking to make lasagna. So, but I
Uh-huh.
didn't list ricotta cheese or I
Got
didn't
it.
list lasagna noodles. So it says, well, if you want to make a vegetarian one, you can make instead of you can replace your lasagna noodles with zucchini strips, or
Right.
whatever that is. And then you
Okay.
can tell it to make you recipes based upon what it knows you have in your fridge, and things of
Right.
that nature. So that's the context that I was talking about. Does that help clarify
Okay.
that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's telling us here's a list of how many things did it give us? 10 things. And then a very efficient weekend, therefore, would look something like this. And of course, it's giving you the breakdown of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Don't plan every available minute. I used to joke around that if I had a free minute on my schedule, my wife would fill it somehow. And of course I was just teasing her when I say all this, but it's not too far from the truth. Oh, you have time to do that? Well, yeah, but I wasn't going to do anything. My whole point was I was going to do nothing. Well, we can get the picnic basket and go for a picnic then. I'm like, oh,
There you
okay.
go.
So at any rate, while I'm
Okay. So
uh,
yeah, talk about the context of this
the
plan.
context of this is basically that it's giving you everything that you could imagine from a summary to the things
Hmm.
that are just general advice. Um, and here's how it's showing it would rank the priorities: family commitments, meals, grocery, gym, essential household tasks, family lever, Sunday reset, and then everything else, whatever that everything else is. So
Hmm.
does that
Okay.
does that make it? Let me give another one here because planning and this I took from a note that you and I were having back and forth. Planning a family weekend with my wife and two kids. We are staying in a hotel, but there are four of us. We're looking for things to do during the day. We're going to be in Washington, D.C. and want family-friendly adventures. You didn't send me that direct one, but I created this one for today. So I'm going to
Okay.
have it And there's just this, and here's where I'll show you how to edit it. So it's
Okay,
thinking,
great.
let it think through its thing.
Okay.
So look at that. It gave me a little map of things to do
Interesting.
and how I should do
NTC.
it. So here are the activities I'll put at the top of your list. So the Air and Space Museum, it knows me very
How
well. I'm into that kind of
Oh,
thing.
so I was going to ask, why does it put that at the top? It already knows because you've already interacted a lot with chat.
Well,
So it
you,
knows you're into science and stuff like that?
well, yes, going back to what we talked about last week and even the last 2, 3 weeks, it was about how to set up AI for you. And so this
Mm,
is just Chat GPT. All of them have it. Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, um,
right.
I already said Gemini, Chat GPT.
All the
You can
models, all the
all the
models.
models. You can go in and you can set the parameters of how you want it to interface with you. It's a machine. So it's a matter if
Right.
you go in and you just right out of the box, sure, you take the toy tank out of the box, fresh from the store, you put batteries in it and goes. Boom, boom, boom. Great. But what if you wanted to climb over the little dirt hills and back and it's not able to do it? Well, what do? You got to go back in and you got to look at the directions even further and so on and so on. And that's kind of what Chat GPT does with this kind of thing. It's looking for something, it's looking for DC adventures. Now, if I was going, oh, shoot, well, I wanted to make sure it said something else, you can click on, and I'll show you where that is again, right next to the little box that I first clicked in, there's a little pencil mark. You can click
Right.
into that. Now you can't add a picture in here at this point. However, you
Okay.
can say you want family adventures, and let's just say um, um,
Petting zoo. How about a petting? I want to go to
we
the zoo.
get up early,
Oh,
but wanted to also see a petting zoo. And now it's going to give us a little bit of a different answer based upon that extra little bit of context. Now, remember, this is in Washington, D.C. So
mm-hmm.
the Smithsonian National Zoological Park is the main one that gets pulled up
Right.
there, right?
Okay.
So all we did was change a little bit of it. All we have to do is go back in, and this is for travel, so there's so many things. This is
Yeah.
planning. We can compare choices to stuff. And just as an
Oh,
example,
I've got one for you. I've
yeah,
got one
yeah,
for you.
yeah.
There's so many mosquitoes around here and I'm allergic
Hmm.
to them. So I recently was trying to get information on, I think it's ultrasonic repellent.
Okay.
But I don't know anything about it. So how would you want to compare products? What kind of context would you give it if you don't really know the product?
Okay, so here, let's do this. So let me X out of that and start it again. So I'm extremely allergic to mosquitoes. I'm looking for a comparison of the available products that is around New York City that I can go and purchase and look at and ask questions about.
It's amazing how good that voice activated chat is.
Yes, absolutely. Dictation is actually good.
Wow.
So here's a comparison. Um, Whoops, come on. Here's your comparison right here. It would start Picaridian,
Picardin.
Picardin, DEET 2540 or DEET. I'm not quite sure why it's saying 98% here. I'm not sure the difference between these two. Um,
Maybe
oh,
the
well, it looks like
amount of DEET.
one's concentrated. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Permethrin thread. Did I say that right?
Permethrin.
Excellent. Yeah, so used on clothing gear rather than directly on skin. So it's going to give you a variety of things. Now, this is just
Wow.
off this little prep. So,
Oh
and then
my God.
you can ask, it gives you other questions that you can ask so you can move forward in your conversation. Um, it tells you about maximum protection approach to this. Because you said you were extremely allergic, there's the context. I would not experiment with a new product in a large skin area right before going somewhere where
Mm,
mosquitoes are abundant. As they always say, you find a test spot. Use it on you so you don't have some kind of allergic skin reaction to it. You
Right.
hate to show up to some place where there's a lot of mosquitoes, and all of a sudden your mosquito stuff is you're allergic to that, and you're like, oh man,
That would be bad.
you're staying in for the
Um,
weekend.
um, let's talk about what? Okay, how about moving? Because that is, they say, next to death, moving is the most stressful thing on the planet to do.
Yeah,
What
and
what sort of context would you give for that?
well, this is a difficult one. So let me just do kind of a practice one so everybody can kind of see it.
Okay.
I'm moving from Philadelphia to New York City. I have a full household of furniture, including 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, and stuff that I use to work on the yard in the garage. I have 2 cars and a family that I also have to manage. Give me the best solution to doing that move successfully. I don't know. I'm just pulling stuff out of my rear end, right? But here is, let's see what it gives us, because it's going to take me pretty serious.
Mm-hmm.
For move the side, I would not treat it as a rent a truck and move a family. You have 3 separate logistical problems. So it's basically going to start laying it out and helping giving you the organizational aspect that you should look at it. My
Yeah,
bet
that's good
is,
right there.
yeah, and at the end, my bet is that's going to start asking even more. Holy crap! Um, so if you give me the approximate size of the Philadelphia house, whether you're moving into apartment, blah blah blah. So it's looking for more context. It's like the
Got
more
it.
context that you give it, the more specific it's going to be able to give you directions on how to manage this.
Got it.
So it's an organizational
Okay.
tool. It's probably that's what I use it the most for. I mean, for meals. I use it for planning and make me a list. I'm heading away for the weekend. Make me a list of what I'll need. Well, make
Hmm.
sure you have 2 pairs of underwear and 2 pairs of socks and you know, all the normal stuff. I mean, those are stuff that most people at my age can do for themselves. But what about the extra stuff? Don't forget your medication. Don't forget this, don't forget that. So
Yeah,
it's a
good.
little bit too general or very general here to give you a specific answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Kara. She asked, are there any tips on organizing each of the chats into categories so that you can find things? That's a really good question.
100%. So there's a couple things, Cara. Can you see my screen here probably pretty well? Up in the upper area, there's a little search bar, and you can search for a variety of things. If I typed in here and I typed in marketing, just as an example, you're going to see all kinds of marketing, everything that has to do with marketing that talks about, from images to whatever else, and how people are marketing, how medicines are marketed. So I'm giving it a very broad circumstance. That's one way to look for stuff. Another way to work for stuff is projects. So if you created a project, in other words, this particular project, let's just say we're calling this AI and how it helps you.
Oh, before you go into that, before you click on it, I think maybe it would be a good idea to explain better what a project
I,
is.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me do the process here, because this
All right.
works best for me. So, AI and how it helps you. Now you can see that within the project itself, it's already titled it out, and then you can say, and how does a new chat and how AI helps you create a shopping list of protein for my 2-day weekend. And of course, you can see you can spell stuff wrong. It's going to understand. It will figure this out. So here is basically, it gives
Oof.
me a list of stuff I should be looking at to take with me. Now, when you're going back to look at this, all you have to do is go back to your projects and you can click on your projects here, and here's all your projects. AI and how it helps you. That's the thing. Here's the AI
Right.
podcast hosted by Deborah. Here is this particular one, KSCA, Kelson Senior Center Association. There's other clients, prospects, and other social media stuff that's in there. I could
I have a
organize it.
question. I'm sorry. But when you click into AI and how it helps you, your project, are you then able to click on search to look for some, if you remember, some keywords, I
Yes, it'll
guess.
show it in there.
But what about if you have a whole long laundry list of of chats, previous chats within the project?
I would go
Can
to my search thing. Search for your most prominent keywords. You don't even need to be in my projects. It's going to search my projects.
Okay,
Just search the keywords like um recipes. And there's all of the different recipes things that I've ever looked up.
got it.
I would
Okay.
think that there's a bigger list than that, but I mean, it went back to April 22nd, 2025 in this particular case. It'll look
So
for
you would,
chats. It'll look for images. Hold on just a second, Deb. It'll look for documents, and it will look for specific projects. And I actually have one that's recipes under here. Of course, I haven't said anything to it. I just created it the other day because I'm starting to organize my recipes now.
okay, sounds good. Let's see. Can you file previous chats under a project folder? I also have that question about, is
Yeah,
project just another way of saying folder?
well, yes, you're exactly right. In that projects is another way of saying folder. Let me get up to my Zoom here and share again. This is as an example, if I was going to run protein shopping list, I can do this protein shopping list. I can I right clicked on the three dots. I can move to a project and there's my recipes. And
Oh,
bam, now if I
okay.
go into, there's my protein shopping list underneath my recipes folder.
Or project. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Well, yeah, it's called project in ChatGPT. That's what they call it, but it's a
Hmm.
folder. Like if you're opening a filing cabinet and you have a folder of recipes,
Right.
So
So,
don't let the name throw you off too much.
well, that's kind of the thing with technology, right? And any field, they have their own
Yeah,
language. So,
100%.
Um, so let's see. I wanted to ask you to just talk briefly about the kinds of things you should not in your personal life. Like, for
Oh,
example,
yeah.
I have to do a budget, let's say.
Yeah,
How detailed, how much context do you want to put in that? You certainly don't want to put your bank account numbers and things like
right.
that. So, where do you draw the line between between putting in too much personal information?
Well, I wouldn't put any personal information that's too detailed. I wouldn't put bank account numbers or passwords or anything
Right.
like that. But you can always put placeholders.
What do you
And
mean?
well, placeholders, like as an example, and let me just go with a new chat here. Okay, so if I said figure my it's hard to come up with something on top of my head. Figure my ability to work with Sam, but tell
Are
me
you writing or typing?
I'm typing. Can you
Oh,
see?
okay.
Oh, can you not see me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you weren't sharing.
Oh, thank you for calling that out. Okay, hold on.
No worries.
There, can you see now?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me who he is and list, and you can block this out, his address. This is probably not the best example. Um, Place markers are things that you can add in. Once again, it's saying send me his name, and if there are multiple people with his name, so just for fun,
Just for fun.
Deborah Albert.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
A New York-based Deborah Albert associated with Sequent Learning Networks and the New York City Lean In Network. Hey, they found you.
They did. Although I'm no longer at Sequent Learning Networks, but even though my LinkedIn profile says
Yes,
I
and
am.
so it's only gonna pull public information. Um,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm trying to think of a way to phrase something with a place marker. Um, my net worth is
Ahem, ahem, ahem. You don't know what my net worth is.
this isn't about you.
Placeholder. Oh, okay. Good.
So you can put a place. So I like using it
Oh, I see
in
what you're saying.
brackets.
Okay.
My net worth is and then a placeholder,
Oh, literally the
and
word
I
placeholder.
want to buy a new property. What
Okay.
should my budget be?
Wow. Is that enough context for it to give real
Maybe.
good information? Huh. Okay.
The key is that your net worth alone shouldn't determine the property budget. We should look at liquefy income, cash flow. And so it starts doing, you can see all the places where there's a placeholder, you can see it hasn't given numbers.
Right.
It's just given a placeholder.
Well, also, it's teaching you something else you have to think about in
Well, exactly
getting to
right.
the answer. Yeah.
Exactly
That's
right.
good.
Yeah.
Cool. That's pretty wild.
So it's hard to determine with placeholders exactly what it is. Sensitive information, your social security number. You don't want to give that out, or a social insurance number if you're in Canada. You don't want to give out,
Mm-hmm.
probably don't want to give out your phone number in general if you're putting a social post, unless it's your business phone number, especially for the ladies
Right.
in the house. And as a guy, I don't feel that, but I talk to my wife all the time, who's all but 5'0" on a good day, and 110 pounds or whatever she is, and so she has these natural built-in things. Everybody's bigger than her. She prides herself on being able to run fast.
Okay.
If I'm in danger, I can outrun. And I say, well, what about me? She says, well, you own guns. So,
Okay.
she's gonna
Moving
leave me
right
behind.
along. Moving
She
right along.
she teases me as well when we go up into the woods. I don't have. She says, I'm not scared of the bears. I just have to be scared that I can't run faster than you. So,
There you go. I want to get to something that Kara had asked. I think it's a really good
yeah.
question. I've heard people say that they used AI to diagnose and treat health conditions.
Oh yeah,
She's a little
people do that all
concerned
the
about
time.
that. And what's your perspective on, whether or not, in fact, I heard something interesting today. I'll let you answer first. Um, should people do that? Should you trust it?
Oh, well, yeah, uh, yes and no. Yes, no, yes, yes, no. How's that? Um, it
Okay. You want to
really, it
explain?
really, well, yes, it really is that much of a difference in that. So, are you looking because you have a headache that started on the left-hand side of your face? You have something that affects your parotid gland. Because I had a recent incident where my parotid gland got really large, and we were trying to figure out what it was because I had just had my teeth cleaned. We checked for infections, we did biopsies, everything that you can imagine. Well, what
Uh-huh.
turns out is that I also take a GLP-1 for my diabetes. And so the endocrinologist had told me, you know, if you notice anything, let me know, because there
Right.
is something with the thyroid gland, not the parotid gland, that causes issues when you take too much of a GLP-1 medication. And
Hmm.
so I did a boatload of searching on this, and then I actually create a medical report on this so I can send it to my doctor. And so it
Oh,
created
wow.
a whole medical report so it could send it to him in the language my doctor would understand. Now I
Right.
understood maybe 70 of it, 70% or something, you know.
But you're comfortable putting out your own personal information, health information out there on
Well,
these AI models. Yeah.
on a
I
certain
mean,
level,
obviously.
eh, okay, you, people like to think that they're private online. You carry a phone around with you, people
Right.
know where you are 24 hours a day because you have a telephone.
Yeah. Good
You
point.
go into your email, there's an IP address. We can track you. So the
Mm,
idea that if people are having to become more and more comfortable, I just double check everything. Is this
mm-hmm.
true? This doesn't seem right. I've seen something, you know, I can see something that happened over here, like some kind of contradiction. So it can
Mm-hmm.
actually, you don't be afraid to call it out on what it says to you. I mean, that's really the key to things. Now, how much you actually are going to put your personal information in there, you're not going to say, but my got my last report and my body mass index was X. I mean, that's kind of not a
Mm,
bad idea. I'm trying to think of things that are really personal. How fat you
right.
are is only your own personal ego in it. I mean, if you're willing to ask ChatGPT, it's the same as willing to ask Google,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
know?
I'm going to have to drop um, because I actually have a lean in circle meeting tonight. And for those of you who don't know, this whole series and every monthly interview that I do is all part of the Lean In organization, and I lead New York. So um, I think I would like to just remind everybody about the replay because I had a couple of questions about it.
Yeah.
Um, Someone asked if they have to download it. Do I know the answer to that? Um,
Well, it
yeah,
would you
probably
yeah, if you wanted
to
to
keep it
stay in
forever.
to keep it forever, download it 100%.
Yeah,
If you want to
yeah.
just watch it, no.
Another thing you can do, although this wouldn't, this would not help with demos, but you could. Um, there's too many. This is actually too long of a detailed idea here. Um, there are ways you can get transcripts directly from the video, and then you could, keep that also. But that's a whole nother story. Um, Okay, so oh yeah, look at what Will just did. He is offering to talk to y'all further, answer your questions, etc. Just book a 20-minute call. He's not charging for that. Um, and I think with that, we're going
Yeah,
to
let
have
me
to say
Yeah, well,
next
I'm a
time.
co-host here, so you can go off and let me answer
Okay.
Cecilia's question here because it looked like she didn't get something answered.
Oh,
Have
sorry,
yourself a great night.
Cecilia. But thank you for asking your questions, and thank you all for being here. And Will, thank you.
Okay, make
I
sure
see
when you
you.
leave, don't stop the meeting when you leave. Just exit.
I know it. Okay.
Got it.
Bye,
Okay.
everybody.